Well, hey y'all. Welcome to TLT with Lita. I hope you all are doing well. Today is a great day. It's Tuesday once again, and our favorite time that I share with you all together is none other than Tuesday Leadership Tips with Lita. Welcome on YouTube, welcome on IG, welcome on the TikTok platform. I'm excited to jump in today. I want to continue, as I said, this conversation that we started last week, talking about the higher the height, the lighter the flight. And I think this particular discussion is important, and I like it because it not only helps you prepare to go higher. In my thinking, I believe that all leaders at some point in time will ascend and go higher. And as you go higher, it's best to just go lighter. So, last week we started out talking about how leaders grow to carry challenges more lightly, if you will. Now, today we want to deepen this particular metaphor that as leaders rise higher in wisdom and vision and maturity, we shed unnecessary weight like ego, fear, insecurity. We begin to shed these things that made us a little heavy early on in our tenure as leaders. The lightness isn't weakness. As you begin to shed the unnecessary weight, it doesn't mean that you're weak. It's freedom for us to soar with perspective, with clarity, and with the purpose that we began our time as leaders. So, the higher that we rise as leaders, the less weight we can afford to carry. Just think about it. Even in flying in an aircraft, they're only allowed so much weight to be able to take off. They can't take off overloaded. Leaders in like manner, as we are taking off and going higher, we can't carry unnecessary weight. So let's talk about what to release so you can go higher, so you can rise higher, lighter. Let's jump in a little deeper today. So think about it just for a moment. Y'all know I'm a thought leader and I love adding value in the space of thought leadership. Think about one weight that you know you need to let go of in your leadership journey. What's one weight? Just think about it. One weight, whether you're on the YouTube platform, whether you're on IG, or whether you are on TikTok. What's one weight that you know you need to let go of in your leadership journey, right where you are now? Not, and I'm not even talking about anything that you're foreseeing, but where you are right now. What's one thing that you need to let go of? One thing. And as you think about it, if you want to share, you can put it in the chat. If not, just as long as you know what that one thing is. And so I want to talk a little bit as we jump into this about what keeps leaders heavy. Sometimes we think the things that keep us heavy make us look strong. Sometimes we think the things that are actually weight, unnecessary weight, we think it makes us look like we're that strong, that tough, that unmovable leader. But sometimes these things that keep us heavy, we actually need to shed them. One of those things I can think of right up front is ego. We're going to have to shed that at some point in time if we want to go higher because we don't need to be the smartest person in the room. When you're going higher, you don't need to be the smartest. You just need to have the smartest people around you. So, ego is one of those things that keeps a leader heavy that we need to shed it. We need to shed it. Another thing that I have shared with you all in times past that I used to deal with early on as a leader was fear of failure, fear of critics, what people think, what people will say, fear of letting people down. All of this is unnecessary weight. And when we allow that fear of failure, that fear of critics, or that fear of letting people down, it's a weight that's unnecessary that will keep us from going higher, lighter. And it will keep us hesitant about going forward in new ideas, fresh innovation. It'll keep you wanting to stay and do things the way you've always done it versus stepping out and implementing new ideas, fresh innovation. Fear is one of those things that we have to shed it. It keeps us heavy. And in some cases, it keeps us from moving at all. So that's another thing that keeps a leader heavy. Another thing that keeps A third thing that keeps us heavy is control, needing to control everything, micromanaging instead of trusting your team. If you have a team, that's what the team is for, is to help you. You don't have to have control over everything. If you have to control everything, how do you focus on going higher, taking the business further? How do you focus on expansion? How do you focus on it if you got to control all the other details that you hired a team to take care of? Control, ladies and gentlemen, is also a weight that keeps leaders heavy. It's important that as we hire people to do various things, that we understand that they don't always think like us, they don't always want to execute the way we would, but it doesn't mean that it's wrong. I think I believe rather, that it is important that we allow, as we are going higher, that we allow others to be able to utilize their giftings, to be able to implement some of their ideas because it could actually make the business better, make it stronger, make it relevant. So, control in some cases we need to shed it. And another thing is comparison. And I think that's the last one I want to give today is comparison. Competing with other leaders, competing with other businesses instead of owning your own lane. If you watch your lane, you will hit your target and not someone else's. I always like to use the analogy of when I was in the military, when we would be on the firing range, and this is for credit, we had to qualify with our assigned weapon, no matter what weapon it was, whether it was a machine gun, a 9 millimeter pistol, a M4 rifle, M16, whatever your assigned weapon was, you had to qualify with that weapon. And one of the things that the range NCOs would do, especially when you're in training for it, they would tell you to watch your lane. And then they would say, commence firing. If you watch your lane and not someone else's, you will hit your targets when you are aiming at your targets in your lane. Competing with other leaders is heavy and it's unproductive. Own your lane. You got to shed that need to compete. Shed it. Heavy leaders get stuck. Light leaders rise up. I'm going to say that one more time for the people in the back. Heavy leaders get stuck. Light leaders rise up. So, as we are going on with this discussion, if you have some input, something you want to chime in, something you want to share, um, you are welcome to do so in the chat. Just drop it in the chat, and I'll try to read it as I am continuing on this conversation. So, there are some, I think, I believe, some important lessons from lightness. There are some important lessons that we can learn from just being light as we go up. Number one, you're released to rise. You are released to rise. Growth requires letting go of burdens, letting go of old mindsets, and letting go of outdated habits. Sometimes we've been doing something so long, it seems like it's right all the time, but sometimes it's an old, outdated habit. It's an old mindset that's not relevant to where you are or where you're trying to go. Be willing to let go of it. Be willing to let go of it so you can be fully released to rise. For example, a leader who stops micromanaging discovers their team's creativity. When you stop micromanaging, you'll see that, wait a minute, John is actually pretty sharp. He's got some great ideas. Susan, she knows how to move. She knows how to put things in order. She's really talented. You will start discovering that you actually have some pretty creative and talented people on your team. You'll be released to rise. The second lesson, growth lesson that is perspective at higher heights. You are rising, so you need to be able to think and have perspective on the level that you're rising to, not on the level that you left from, not on the level of situations and circumstances that you have released. At the ground level, obstacles feel huge. Just think about it. On the ground, buildings look taller, vehicles look larger, but when you start going to higher altitudes, you see the big picture better. What once looked like a wall is just a bump in the landscape when you're up high. When you are looking at the big picture, you will see that the things that you thought were so huge and such a problem, you'll find out when you start rising higher, it's not that big at all. Not that big at all. The third growth lesson that I want to share with you today is agility over weight. Leaders who carry less baggage move with clarity. They adapt faster and they inspire others to do the same. This is important because your people, the ones on your team who are helping you bring the vision to pass, they're watching you. If they see you carrying less, trusting them with more, they'll also see you move with clarity. If you have clarity, you give that same clarity to them. They are clearer as well. Then you adapt faster. When you adapt faster, guess what? It trickles to all those on the team. If you already have their buy in, they'll adapt faster. And then you'll inspire the whole team to do the same. So you have that agility, overweight. And as you take these three growth lessons that I just gave you, release to rise, having perspective over higher heights, at higher heights rather, and then having agility overweight, you will see that your ascension will be more seamless. It will be lighter for sure. And you will be able to go to places and heights you never thought you would. That's the growth lessons. Now, let's talk about some practical anchors for light leadership. You got to start shifting your thinking to lighter. I'm going lighter. I'm going higher and I'm going lighter. Some practical anchors would be self reflection. Self reflection, journal or assess what's draining your energy and no longer serving you. If you continue to self reflect, you will continue to eliminate what is not helping you go higher, but draining you or keeping you stuck. Also, delegation of trust. Give responsibility to your team so you can focus on vision. When you start passing certain things on to your team, you will see that, you know what? I was wasting so much time trying to do that. But when I trusted my team member to take this, they took it to an entirely different level than I could have trying to do everything on my own. So, delegation and trust, if you continue to do that as you rise higher, you will see yourself go higher and higher, lighter. Then mindset shifts. We all need this. We all need mindset shifts. We need to be able to reframe failure as feedback. I don't know about you, but I used to fear failure so much that I wouldn't move at all. But this is the thing, right? Failure is not the end. It's not the end all or the be all. Failure is just another stepping stone to you getting higher. You got to be able to reframe what looks like failure or what may appear to be failure to be something that you learned a lesson and it helped you on the next level. So those mindset shifts are important. That's another practical anchor. And then lastly, purpose alignment. The clearer your why is, the easier it is to shed what does not align. If it does not align, then you probably need to shed it. The clearer your why is, the easier it will be for you to shed what does not align with your purpose, with your values, with your vision. And so, as you uh, consider these practical anchors, they will help keep you anchored in your vision, continuing to honor your values, and to make sure that you're still going higher, but lighter. So that's the gist of what I wanted to continue this conversation about today. If any of you have questions, like I said, or anything that you wanted to share as it relates to going higher and going lighter, you are certainly welcome to either put it in the chat. I'll wait a minute or so before I jump off here. But I want to make sure that number one, it's clear. Number two, it's applicable. And number three, that it is simple enough for you to be able to apply it in whatever area you're in and whatever height you're at right now. So remember, shed those weights, shed the ego, the fear, the control, the comparison, shed it. Hold on to your anchors, self reflection, delegation and trust, mindset shifts, purpose alignment. And as you go higher, leaders, you will certainly go lighter. All right, y'all. That's our time today. I look forward to the next time we get together. And as I always ask, share this with another leader. Share this with someone who needs this conversation. And as you share it with them, tell them we get together on Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern for Tuesday Leadership Tips with Lita. Until next time, peace, y'all.